Hey guys, what's up? This is Ken Kowalski at Second 50 Strong, and today, us men, we're gonna get our priorities straight. Let's do this. Today, guys, we're gonna talk about that after not smoking, getting extra fat off of your body is the most important thing you can do for yourself. Now, quitting smoking is obviously the smartest thing you can do. It's probably the number one bad habit anyone can have for poor health. But number two is having extra fat on your body, meaning being overweight or obese. And actually nowadays, because smoking has decreased so much, obesity and being overweight is the number one thing that we should be worried about as far as being healthy later in our years, is not carrying this extra fat on our body. The problem is, and this is some of the things I really want to get into today, is society is trying to tell us otherwise. We need to keep our priorities straight and understand that carrying extra fat on our body is the worst thing we can do. But we're being inundated by social media, by TV, commercials, you name it, saying that big is beautiful. We need to love ourselves no matter what. Health at every size, right? There's even like a fatosphere now, I think I looked up, that basically is copying the manosphere that's been out there for men. We need to be body positive about ourselves no matter what size we are. And, you know, I'm all about feeling good about ourselves, but the problem with this is it's trying to trick us into thinking that carrying extra fat on our bodies is an okay thing to do. That the only thing to really do about being overweight is just feel good about it, accept yourself, love yourself, and that's good enough as far as what we need to do to get extra fat off of our body. But that is so far from true. Medical science has shown over thousands of different studies over the years how unhealthy carrying extra weight on our body is. And we can't deny that, guys. So we are going to look at some of the major reasons why having extra fat on our bodies is literally the most unhealthy thing you can do for yourself right now. Another thing that's going on that's really very concerning is how even with the medical community now, they're giving us a spin on being overweight and being obese, that it's not our problem, it's not our fault, right? We're hearing all the time now of, oh, you're overweight, not your fault. It's your genes. Genetically, you're just going to be overweight. So you're a victim, right? You can't help it. Total lie. Or how about this one? You are unable to pay for healthy food. You just can't afford healthy food. You don't have enough money. So therefore, you're a victim. Total lie. How about, oh man, you're overweight, you're obese. You know what? That's basically a disease now. It's just something that you kind of contracted, something that you have. We'll medically treat that because really you're a victim. Total lie. Or how about some of the things we even tell ourselves that is now being promoted by the medical community of, oh, dieting just doesn't work for you. You're one of those people that dieting just doesn't work. So you're a victim, right? That's okay. Total lie. Or I know you're one of those people that exercise just doesn't help you lose any weight. It's just, it's not the exercise. It's not you. It's just, you're just one of those people, right? So you're kind of a victim. Total lie. All of these things are complete and total lies, yet they are being told to us on a regular basis. Guys, this is the highest level of brainwashing, and it is completely incorrect. And you know, please don't think I'm mean, because I really don't have anything against people who are overweight or fat or obese, however you want to say it, except for the fact that they are harming themselves. I love all you guys, right? I care about all of you guys, but I can't care about you and tell you it's okay to harm yourself medically and physically at the same time. I'm not going to be one of the liars. I'm not going to be one of the people that are just interested in having you feel good about yourself when really you're feeling good about harming yourself all the time. That's not going to happen on my watch, guys. we need to wake up and get our priorities straight and understand that getting fat off of our bodies is the most important thing we can do right now. And I'm going to explain to you why, okay? We all know the easy ones, things we've been told for decades that we're kind of covering our ears, humming a happy tune, so we don't really pay attention to the fact that having extra fat on our body leads to heart problems, hypertension, right? High blood pressure, heart attacks. It leads to diabetes. There's a whole host of problems coming from diabetes. Retinopathy, peripheral neuropathy, where you can't feel your feet, retinopathy issues, you start to lose your vision. Whole set of problems that come with diabetes as a result of being overweight and obese, right? How about certain kinds of cancers? Being overweight is absolutely linked to getting certain kinds of cancers. Osteoarthritis, right? We wear and tear our bodies down so much faster when we have all of this extra weight on us. Now, we know all of that. That is nothing new whatsoever. But what we're going to do now is go even a little bit deeper to talk about more issues of what carrying extra fat on our body actually cause. One of the biggest ones, guys, is being overweight directly affects our brain. This is priority number one, because without our brains working properly, nothing works properly. Nothing will lower your quality of life faster than your brain not working properly. I promise you that. What does one of the things that being overweight does to our brain? It causes it to become inflamed. All right, I'm going to give you guys a lot of information. I'm finishing up writing a book. I did like 74 different, sightings of resources in there. I'm not going to do it during any of these videos. Google all of this yourself. I don't want you to believe a word I'm saying, right? Don't believe anybody. No one agrees with each other anyways. Don't believe anyone. Look this stuff up for yourself. Being overweight causes your brain to become inflamed. What does that do? Well, it causes more depression. It causes higher risk of stroke. It causes more neurodegenerative disorders like Parkinson's disease and dementia. It also causes psychological problems, mental and emotional problems. Your brain is unable to work properly anymore. That's a huge deal. You are increasing your risk dramatically for all of that just by being overweight and carrying extra fat on your body. You know what else being overweight does to your brain? It shrinks it. It literally makes it smaller, especially in your prefrontal cortex. I know, I got a nice scar here. Wrestled a kid yesterday who got me with his fingernail, whatever. So prefrontal cortex, it literally shrinks your prefrontal cortex. What does your prefrontal cortex do? That's the part of our brains that separates us from everything else on this planet as far as our ability to think, right? We're talking long-term planning, goal setting. You shrink your prefrontal cortex, you're going to have a harder time with goal setting and long-term planning, which results in decreased ability to really allow delayed gratification to happen. Now, that's a big problem, because if you want to lose weight, nothing happens overnight, and now you're thinking about trying to lose weight, but you know you're not going to get any benefits until months or two down the road. You're having a harder time processing that information because you've shrunk your prefrontal cortex. Another thing it does is mental and emotional regulation, right? Your moods, how you feel about things, depression, anxiety, that's all your prefrontal cortex. Executive thinking, right? Like abstract thinking. If the best thing I can understand about abstract thinking is if your wife says, "Hey, do we have any butter?" She doesn't want you to answer yes or no. She wants you to go get the butter, right? So she understands. You need to understand and read into that she's not asking a yes or no question. That's kind of executive functioning and abstract thinking, right? That starts to become a problem down the road as we're shrinking our prefrontal cortex. It affects our problem solving. It affects our social behavior, right? Our prefrontal cortex, once again, Google it if you want, does all of that stuff, and we are literally attacking it and shrinking it by carrying extra fat on our body. So, right there, we know that if you are really loving yourself, if you really care about yourself, you cannot have this extra fat on your body knowing how badly it is attacking your brain. What's another big thing holding extra fat on your body does? It decreases your testosterone. Guys, as men, as we get older, having enough testosterone in our body is like one of the most important things in the world to us right now. Testosterone makes us men. It makes us manly. It also protects us from a lot of medical problems. Low testosterone is shown to cause and be associated with so many medical conditions for men. It's unbelievable. So not only do we lower our testosterone by being overweight, but we're also increasing our medical conditions by being overweight through lowering our testosterone. Here's the crazy thing about having less testosterone is low testosterone causes you to store more fat. So now you have extra fat on your body, which is making your testosterone tank. Your lower testosterone levels are making it easier to have more fat stored on your body, and this downward spiral goes, right? It's horrible. Not only that, as well, being overweight increases our estrogen levels as men. Now, we all have some estrogen in our body, a scant amount, not too much. We need it, right? That nice interplay between a little bit of estrogen and a lot of testosterone works for us. But it starts to crank our estrogen up as our testosterone is going down. Guys, estrogen is what makes women women. We don't want extra estrogen in our systems. And now you've got that double whammy of your testosterone is going down and your estrogen is going up, and you are literally becoming hormonally less of a man and more hormonally like a woman. Do you really want that? And all of this leads up to this big old fancy word, hypogonadism. What's hypogonadism? Well, that's your balls not working properly anymore, right? Like, oh my God, who wants to stop their balls from working properly? We should love them. They do so much wonderful stuff for us. Why would you want to attack your own testicles just because you have extra fat on your body? Next, being overweight increases your chance for getting obstructive sleep apnea. This is a huge thing, guys, because especially if you're not sleeping with someone or if they're a heavy sleeper, they may not be aware that you might not be aware that you have obstructive sleep apnea. And what that is your ability to breathe gets obstructed while you're sleeping at night. And you can go 10, 20, 30 seconds or more without breathing, because as we carry extra fat on our bodies, some of that fat deposits in our necks and in our breathing area and literally closes our breathing area off while we're trying to breathe. This happens so much that every 10% increase in your body fat increases your chance of obstructive sleep apnea by 500%. Well, what's the big deal about that? You're not getting oxygen. Our brains are oxygen eaters, right? Our brains just suck up oxygen and nutrients to make sure that they are functioning properly. And throughout the night, you are literally denying your brain the amount of oxygen it needs to perform its jobs and stay healthy. You're kind of strangling yourself. That's what you're doing through obstructive sleep apnea, is by having too much weight on you, you're strangling yourself at night while you sleep. And so many people don't know they have it because nobody's telling them, right? Big deal. Gotta lose that weight to decrease your chances of obstructive sleep apnea. All right, last one I want to talk about right now is how having extra fat stored on your system increases your systemic overall inflammation. Fat cells, especially visceral fat, I think we've talked about visceral fat already. It's the fat underneath your abdominal wall surrounding all of your organs in your viscera. Those fat molecules release hormones. We know that muscles release these polypeptides, these little protein peptides, right, that go around and send messages. Fat cells do the same thing. Those messages say you're sick, you're not doing well, you're unhappy, and it creates this globalized inflammation to most or all of your organs. You are literally malfunctioning as a human being when your fat cells are sending out, which they will, are sending out these signals to the rest of your body. If you were driving around in your car and your engine light went on and your engine started clunking and something wasn't working right and you couldn't really accelerate anymore, man, you would bring your car to the shop because you don't want your car to completely break down. But when it's happening to our own bodies, we seem to just not care. We're just choosing to love ourselves instead, but our engine light is on. We're starting to clunk and make noise. We can't accelerate like we used to. Nobody seems to care about that. We got to get our priorities straight, guys. And this is why. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I have repeated myself for certain things and will for the rest of my life. We don't know how badly we feel right now because we have completely lost touch on what it is to feel good. We don't even remember what it feels like to be functioning at an optimum high level, to feel awesome, right? We have completely connected from that because it's been so long, because normal society doesn't feel that way. So we live in a relative world. We only identify hot because we remember cold. We only identify up because we remember down. We only identify right because we remember left. We're not identifying how horrible we feel right now because we don't remember what it feels like to be great. But that doesn't stop the fact that we are functioning at really quite a low level compared to what we could be if we cleaned ourselves up, dropped fat off of our body, managed what goes in and out of our pie hole, and strength trained. That's the most important things we can do. So trust me, if you have low-grade inflammation, you probably don't feel that great, and you think it's normal. Oh, I'm getting old. Oh, sucks to get old. Oh, I don't know, I just don't have a lot of energy anymore. No, that's not getting old. That's you functioning with low-grade inflammation and literally malfunctioning. All right, you know what? We're going to talk about one more because this is the one that really upsets me the most, okay? Carrying extra fat on your body, obesity, and erectile dysfunction. Now, this bothers me a lot because, guys, I believe it's our God-given right to have regular, wonderful sex with a woman who wants to have sex with us, right? Like, that should be what it is because we have such a high sex drive. Men are imbued through our survival mode DNA to have a monster size, a titan size sex drive, and not to be able to tap into and use that with a willing partner is a horrible, horrible thing. Well, let me tell you what. Erectile dysfunction, if you don't have an erection, you're not having sex with anybody. Men are burdened, we always have, and we always will be, burdened with performance. We're the ones that have to perform basically in everything, right? That's just the way it goes. You can't get it up, you're not having any fun with your lady, and that's a problem. So what's the number one cause for erectile dysfunction? After age, after getting older, it's obesity. Obesity is the number 2 cause of all time of erectile dysfunction for a lot of different reasons. Now imagine you're getting older, we're all in our 50s, and you're overweight. Now you've given yourself, you got number 1 and number 2 top reasons for having erectile dysfunction. That's why in America today, if you're 50, 50% of 50-year-olds have erectile dysfunction. If you're 60, it's 60%. If you're 70, it's 70%. Like, oh my God, what's going on? But here's the crazy math. This is the one that really gets me. Guys make up about 30 million people in the United States that have erectile dysfunction. Okay, so about 30 million people in America have erectile dysfunction, guys. 150 million men in the world have erectile dysfunction. 30 million men in America have ED, 150 men in the rest of the world have ED. But here's the problem. We're only 4.3% of the male population. So how can 4.3% of the male population, us US guys, have like 20% of the worldwide erectile dysfunction? What the hell are we doing wrong? Well, I know one thing, we're really an overweight country, are we? So that is one of the major problems. And here you go. If you have extra fat on your body, if you are obese or overweight, that increases your risk of erectile dysfunction by, the studies show, 30 to 90%. Big swath there. So let's just say 60%. You are increasing your chance of getting erectile dysfunction by 60% by carrying around extra fat on your body. Do you really want that? No. And now, like I said earlier, guys, obesity has actually replaced smoking as the number 1 lifestyle problem for causing all of these diseases, medical problems, and all-cause mortality, right? Because we got rid of smoking a lot. Smoking used to be very popular. I remember as a kid, right? We're all older, we're all in our 50s. You could smoke in a restaurant in the smoking section. You could smoke in a movie theater in the back. I remember people smoking in planes in the back, right? Even planes had a smoking section, right? I remember watching Major League Baseball and some of the managers are sitting there smoking while they're coaching their teams. Like, oh my God, that's all gone now, right? Because we made smoking taboo. We showed people how unhealthy smoking is. But yet, we seem to be doing the exact opposite for obesity. That is just as bad for us. If we're going to say big is beautiful, why didn't we say smoking is beautiful? If we're going to say health at any size, why didn't we say health at any amount of cigarettes, right? If we're going to say you can love yourself if you're overweight, why didn't we say, well, you can love yourself if you're damaging your lungs? Well, that's ludicrous, right? Those comparisons are ludicrous, but that's exactly what's happening in society right now. And this is a major problem, guys. So if you are overweight, if you're obese, if you are carrying extra fat around on your body, I want you to love yourself. I love you. I mean, I sometimes see guys who are really overweight. They're jogging on the road. Man, I want to pull over, give them a high five, give them a pep talk. Like, I'm so proud of those people. I'm proud of anyone who tries to change their lives for the better, no matter where they are. But what we need is for you to actually love yourself, right? But before we get into that final piece of all of this, how do you know if you're overweight? I'm going to give you the second 50 strong test to know if you're overweight. And you don't need a tape measure, you don't need calipers, you don't need a scale, you don't need anything. Here you go. Here is the second 50 strong way to know if you have too much fat on your body. Next time you are about to take a shower and you are butt naked, I want you to find a flat piece of wall in your bathroom. I want you to take your heels, put your heels up against the wall, put your butt up against the wall, put your shoulders against the wall, and you're basically standing like a soldier at attention. Now, I want you to look down. Can you see your little guy or not? If you can't see your own penis, then you are overweight and have too much fat on you. It's got nothing to do with the size of your junk. It's got nothing to do if you're trying to suck your gut in or not. If you're looking down and you can't see your little guy waving back up at you again, you need to drop fat off your body. It's just that simple. That is the test to know if you have too much fat on you or not. So there's that. To wrap it all up, guys, this is really important. I want you to love yourselves. I mean, I saw this wonderful poster in a wall in a gym a long time ago. I don't know who did it. I can't give any credit. It said, work out because you love your body, not because you hate it, right? And I'm a huge believer of that. We got to work out and exercise because we love ourselves. But you cannot find one example, not one. I'd love for you to show me. You can comment on this. Show me where you can find one example where loving yourself means continuing to harm yourself. Where loving yourself means purposely shortening your lifespan, purposely shortening your quality of life. Is there any example where loving yourself actually means not doing what is best for you? No, there's not. But society is trying to make you think that there is. Social media is trying to make you think that there is. Talk shows are trying to make you think that there is. Commercials, TV shows, social influencers are all trying to make you think that there is, but there's not. The only logical thing you can do if you love yourself or even like yourself is to try to treat yourself better. You cannot treat yourself better if you are harming yourself. And we all harm ourselves if we choose to carry extra fat on our bodies, right? So real quick, don't want to leave you hanging about what to do. Well, there are two major things you can do. Actually, there's one major thing you can do for managing your pie hole of what goes in your pie hole. There's a major thing and a minor thing. And the major thing is calories. It will always be this. Guys, I study this stuff nonstop. I can't even count how many books I've read on all of this. Seriously, or listened to, really, to be more honest with you. And I get it. I know all the stuff about insulin and all of that, and that's not wrong, but it will always boil down to, if you want to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. It has always been that way, and it will always be that way until the end of our time on this planet. You can't spin it enough to actually change the truth. If you want to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. And I'm going to give you two examples of this right now. One, The Twinkie diet, right? There was a professor, I think at Kansas State University or somewhere, named Mark Hobb, and he was eating about 2,500 calories a day. And he wanted to lose weight, but he was certain it had everything to do with calorie amount and not what kind of food you're eating. So he realized to lose weight, he cut his calories down to, I think, 1,700. It was a 700 calorie deficit in a day to be able to lose weight. So he cut his calories down 700 a day and did it for 10 weeks. What did he eat on those remaining 1,800 calories a day? Vegetables? Was he a vegan? Was he carnivore? No, he ate freaking Twinkies and Debbie's snack cakes and Rojos and Ding Dings and Devil Dogs and chips, Doritos, and sugary cereal, right? He ate all of that garbage all day long. Now, as a little side note, he did have some protein shakes and some vitamins, or he would have died. He probably would have killed himself, or at least ended up in the hospital eating all of that crap. But that's what he ate. And guess what? He lost 27 pounds. The dude lost 27 pounds in 10 weeks eating complete crap over a 10-week period just by cutting his calories down every day. People don't want to remember that study, but it's there and it's reproducible if you want to do it. So right there, calories matter more than anything else. Here's example number 2. As our medical profession is like, oh, you have a medical condition if you're obese. Oh, it's not your fault if you're overweight. You know what? We got medication for you. Don't worry about it. We got medication. We're going to shoot you up with some Ozempic, right? You're going to get a weekly shot of Ozempic. Then you're going to lose weight. You won't be a victim anymore. You know, we'll cure your medical problem. We'll fix the fact that it's really your genes and you can't help it, you know, or you can't afford healthy food. Complete lie. Right, so we're going to shoot you up with Ozempic. Now, you might want to ask, well, what does Ozempic do? Well, your doctor is going to have to tell the truth and say, stops you from eating so much. That's all it does. Ozempic just stops you from eating so much. So all this garbage that we're being told about genes and, you know, economics and, you know, medical condition and being that snowflake that nothing works for, that, you know, decreasing in dieting doesn't work. All Ozempic does is make you feel full so you eat less. Guys, I got plenty of patients on Ozempic right now. They're dropping weight right and left. You know what every single one of them say? I just don't want to eat anything. I'm not hungry. I eat once or twice a day, and that's really it. And I don't eat too much because I'm not hungry. That's what Ozempic does. It cuts your calories. Out of all the other crap they're talking about of why you might be that victim of can't lose weight, Ozempic stops you from eating so much. It's a calorie reducer. There you go. Another sleight of hand by the medical community. The secondary thing, which is important but not as important as counting calories and being in a calorie deficit, is how your body reacts to what you're eating. No doubt. That's a thing. No kidding. You are going to be, and why is that? So if you eat healthy, from the earth foods, and you get your belly nice and full, you'll probably stay full for a while. The less it's processed, the less it's messed with, the better you'll stay full for a while. You eat that sugary garbage that Mark Hobb ate, you're probably going to be starving in 2 hours again, right? So if you eat the same amount of calories, well, no, I shouldn't even say that. Let's say if you eat the same amount of calories for breakfast, right? You'll be able to sustain not eating longer, eating healthy, good food for you. But if you eat your bagel or your cinnamon bun or your caramel latte, whatever the heck it is, you're going to be hungry much sooner down the road, and that's going to increase your calories. Not only that, it's going to make you feel like horrible. It's going to make you feel like garbage. Your body doesn't like running on that stuff. It is absolutely set on survival mode of eating regular whole food from the earth, and it is not set on eating all of that crap. So you will literally underperform physically throughout the day, which means you're going to be burning less calories, which makes it even harder to put you in a calorie deficit. So how your body reacts to the food you eat is a big deal because it directly affects your calorie deficit or calorie overconsumption that way, based on how frequently you eat, based on how you feel, and how less you stay active based on how you feel. And yes, your body stores sugar as fat. Absolutely it does. The more sugar you eat, the more fat you're going to store in your body. No doubt. All of that is very important. But like Dr. Hobb showed, and like the people on Ozempic are showing, because they're still eating whatever the heck they want when they do eat, It's all about calorie reduction. You can do it. And we're going to talk a little more about that in our next video. I know I'm love and addicted to strength training, but we're going to talk about 2 other exercises that we can do in the next video that take almost no effort at all, that are going to help us manage our pie holes a lot better and get into that calorie deficit and feel better from eating better quality food. All right, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about today. This is Ken Kowalski. I'm a Second 50 Strong. Comment below if you want to. I will see you next time.